The research station Aster 4 floated quietly above a dying red star. The light from the star was weak and heavy, painting everything with a soft crimson glow. Inside the main control room, Rin sat alone, staring at the long lines of data moving across his screen. He had been on this station for almost 2 years, working as a deep space signal analyst. His job was to listen to the whispers of the galaxy, searching for something that did not belong to nature. The rest of the crew was asleep. The silence was thick, broken only by the hum of the air filters and the slow rhythm of Rin's breathing. He liked the quiet hours when the station seemed to dream. Out there, beyond the red star, space looked endless. Sometimes he wondered if humans were really meant to be so far from their home. That night, something changed. One of the signal monitors started flashing. Rin leaned forward and adjusted the controls. The signal was faint at first, almost buried in cosmic noise. It was repeating in a strange rhythm, too regular to be random. He turned up the volume and froze. Beneath the static, there was a sound like a voice. It was slow, almost melodic, and carried a strange accent that no human language had. Rin tried to clean the signal. The more he filtered the noise, the clearer it became. And then, through the static, he heard it again, a whisper that chilled his spine. It said his name. He stared at the screen. No one outside his crew even knew this signal existed. The computer displayed the coordinates of the source. It was coming from the outer rim, a place where no ships had been for hundreds of years. Rin hesitated, his mind torn between fear and curiosity. Every scientist on Aster 4 had dreamed of discovering alien contact, but none expected it to start by calling them by name. He should have reported it to the command center, but something inside him whispered to go alone. He downloaded the coordinates to his shuttle and suited up. The hallways of the station were empty as he walked to the docking bay. The door slid open and the shuttle lights came alive. He strapped in, took a deep breath, and launched toward the unknown. The journey took several hours. As the shuttle moved deeper into the darkness, the dying star became a red dot behind him. Space felt thicker there, almost alive. The navigation sensors began to flicker and the controls trembled slightly. Rin checked his readings again and again, but they made no sense. The coordinates led him straight toward an object that did not appear on any map. When he finally saw it, his breath caught in his throat. Hanging in the void was a massive vessel, dark as night, shaped like a broken crown. It looked ancient, older than anything human hands had built. Its surface was made of black crystal that shimmered faintly with reflected starlight. Even though it was silent, Rin felt it watching him. He tried to scan it, but his equipment failed instantly. The screens went blank for a second before showing strange runes that moved like liquid. Then, without warning, his shuttle began to slow down. It was being pulled toward the ship by a gentle but irresistible force. Rin fought the controls, but nothing worked. The shuttle entered a large opening in the side of the vessel. Inside, the light dimmed to almost nothing. A soft blue glow filled the air, and the engines shut off completely. The shuttle landed softly on what looked like a hangar floor made of glass. The air outside seemed breathable. His heart pounded as he put on his helmet just in case and stepped out. The floor reflected his image like water. All around him, giant pillars reached toward a ceiling lost in darkness. Strange symbols pulsed along the walls, shifting as if alive. Every sound echoed far away, and Rin felt very small. He walked forward slowly, scanning his surroundings with a handheld light. The deeper he went, the colder it became. Time itself seemed to move differently inside the ship. His watch showed that only minutes had passed, yet he felt like he had been walking for hours. Finally, he reached a large door. It was circular, covered in symbols that formed a spiral toward the center. As he raised his hand, the door slid open without a sound. Beyond it was a vast chamber that looked like a throne room. A long path led toward a raised platform with a single seat carved from dark crystal. The air shimmered faintly, and the silence grew heavier. Rin felt something move in the shadows. He turned his light toward the far wall, but it revealed only empty space. Then a soft voice echoed through the chamber. "You came back." Rin froze. The voice was not through his helmet. It was in the air itself, deep and calm, with a hint of sorrow. He turned slowly, and that was when he saw her. A figure stepped out of the darkness. She was tall and graceful, her skin pale as starlight. Her eyes glowed with faint silver light, reflecting every small movement. She wore a long robe that shimmered with shifting colors like oil over glass. Her hair flowed as if in water, weightless and alive. Rin's instinct told him she was not human. Every part of her seemed too perfect, too symmetrical, like a dream carved from light and shadow. Yet her gaze felt old, older than the stars outside. Rin's hand moved toward his communicator, but he could not make himself speak. The figure walked closer, her steps silent. When she was only a few meters away, she tilted her head slightly, studying him as though she were reading every thought in his mind. "You do not remember me," she said softly. "But I know you, human." Her words struck him like lightning. He took a step back, his heartbeat echoing in his ears. "How do you know my name?" he managed to whisper. "I have known your kind since the dawn of your sons," she replied. "And I have known you far longer." She raised a hand and a faint glow surrounded him. His communicator flickered and died. The ship's walls responded to her voice, symbols lighting up around the throne room. Rin saw images flash across the surfaces, battles, stars being born and dying, and countless figures kneeling before someone who looked exactly like her. He realized then that she was not a hologram or a memory. She was alive. Rin's voice trembled. "Who are you?" She turned and walked toward the crystal throne. When she sat, the entire room came alive with energy. The glow from the walls pulsed in rhythm with her breathing. Her eyes met his again. "I am the last Empress of the Eternal Night," she said. "Once ruler of the 10,000 suns. My people called me Seren, though names change with time. I was cast into sleep when the stars still burned young." Rin felt his knees weaken. "You have been here for millions of years," he said quietly. "Time is not the same for me," she answered. "I slept between heartbeats of the universe, until your voice called me." "My voice?" Rin shook his head. "I found your signal. It called me first." Her lips curved in a faint smile. "Did you truly believe you found it by chance? You carry what once belonged to me. My code, my pattern, buried in your kind. You woke me because we are bound." Rin could not understand her words. He looked around the throne room again, trying to make sense of what he saw. The carvings on the walls showed humans, or at least creatures that looked like humans, standing beside beings like her. Some scenes looked peaceful, others showed war. Serene rose again and walked toward him. Her movements were smooth and silent. When she stopped, she reached out and gently touched his cheek. Her hand was cold, but the touch was not painful. A rush of images flooded Rin's mind. Tall cities, made of glass, skies filled with ships, oceans reflecting moons that were not Earth's. He saw armies marching under banners of light and darkness. And he saw her, standing at the center of it all, surrounded by humans. He gasped and stepped back. The images faded, but the echo of them remained. "What was that?" he asked. "Memory," she said softly. "Yours and mine. We were not enemies once. You were my shield, my creation, and my ruin." Rin stared at her, trying to understand. He wanted to deny everything, but deep inside something felt familiar. A strange sadness filled his chest as if he were remembering a dream he had forgotten long ago. Serene looked at him for a long moment, her silver eyes calm but distant. "The universe is not kind to those who remember," she said. "But it has always been your kind who bring light to the dark." The ship trembled slightly, and a soft hum filled the air. Somewhere deep inside, machinery began to awaken. The lights brightened and a faint rhythm pulsed through the floor. She turned toward the sound and smiled faintly. "The stars still sing," she whispered. "And now that you are here, the song begins again." Rin stood frozen, staring at her glowing form. He did not know if he should be afraid or honored. All he knew was that the universe had just become far larger and far stranger than he had ever imagined. And as the echo of her words filled the ew, "I know you, human," Rin felt the first spark of destiny awaken inside him. The silence inside the alien vessel stretched like an endless echo. The glow from the walls pulsed gently, keeping rhythm with the Empress's calm breathing. Rin stood still, trying to make sense of what had just happened. He could still feel her touch on his face, cold but strange in its gentleness. His thoughts were a storm. Nothing in his training could explain what he was seeing. Seren, the Empress, walked slowly back to her throne. Her robe shimmered with every step, the colors shifting from dark violet to soft silver. She looked both living and unreal, like a being made of light wrapped in shadows. Her silver eyes watched Rin as if she could read every heartbeat inside him. "You have questions," she said. Her voice was quiet, yet it filled the entire room. Rin nodded. "You said I carry your code. What does that mean?" Serene lifted her hand and pointed toward one of the glowing walls. Symbols moved like streams of light, forming shapes that resembled human DNA. "Your kind," she said, "were not born by chance. Long before your planet knew fire, my empire spread across the stars. We studied life, shaped it, and seeded it. Humans were the result of our final design." Rin frowned. "That cannot be true. We evolved on Earth. There is no record of you." She smiled faintly. "You evolved, yes. But the seed was ours. You were meant to be warriors who could think and feel. My council feared that power. They called your kind unstable, too emotional. I called you alive." Her words carried a quiet sadness. Rin wanted to argue, but he could not ignore what he had seen in the vision she showed him. The carvings, the images, the sense of memory that felt older than himself. It all felt too real to be a lie. He looked around the chamber again. The air felt thicker now, filled with energy. The symbols on the floor glowed under his boots when he walked. It was as if the entire ship recognized him. "Why now?" Rin asked. "Why wake up after all this time?" Seren looked up at the ceiling, her eyes distant. "Because the stars are dying. The red suns burn out one by one. My empire is gone and only silence remains. I slept until something that carried my code came near. That was you. Your blood opened the gate. Your voice called me from the dark." Rin shook his head slowly. "I did not mean to wake you." She smiled again, softer this time. "Few in history have ever meant to change the world. Yet they always do." He wanted to ask more, but the ship suddenly trembled. A low hum spread through the metal. Rin turned and one of the corridors lit up in pale blue. Seren rose from her throne. "It seems the ship remembers as well," she said. "Come, there is something you must see." Rin followed her down the corridor. The walls glowed brighter as they walked, showing moving shapes like streams of living data. The floor was smooth as glass, but he could feel a faint vibration under his boots, like a heartbeat. He wondered if the ship itself was alive. They entered a large chamber filled with tall crystal pillars. Each one contained faint shapes floating inside, figures that looked almost human. Seren stopped before one of the pillars and placed her hand against it. The surface rippled like water, revealing a pale face inside. "These were the guardians of my empire," she said quietly. "Half flesh, half energy. They slept with me. Most are gone now, their essence lost to time." Rin stepped closer and studied the face inside. It looked peaceful, like someone dreaming. "Are they dead?" "Not dead," Seren said. "Empty. Their spirits faded. Memory alone keeps their shells." Rin felt a chill crawl up his spine. "What about your people? The ones who sealed you here?" She turned to him slowly. Her eyes were colder now. They feared what I became. They feared the bond I shared with your kind. In their fear, they betrayed me. They believed if I slept, the wars would end. Instead, their worlds burned. Her voice stayed calm, but the pain behind it was clear. Rin understood then that she was not just a ruler, she was a being who had lost everything. Serain walked further down the hall, stopping before another crystal that glowed differently. "This one still breathes," she said. The pillar pulsed, faintly, and Rin saw faint light inside, moving like a beating heart. Perhaps not all hope was lost. Rin touched the surface lightly. The glow responded to his hand, flickering brighter. Serain watched him with quiet curiosity. "You see," she said softly, "even after ages, your presence stirs what is ancient. You are the echo of what we were." Rin stepped back. "You talk as if I am part of your history." "You are," she replied. "You and I have met before, in another time, under another sun. You wore armor of silver and carried a blade of light. You were my general." Rin stared at her, unsure if he should believe. "That cannot be. I was born on Earth." She looked at him sadly. "Bodies are born. Souls travel. You may not remember, but the universe does not forget." Her words left him silent. He could not argue against her certainty. Something deep in his chest felt heavy, like a memory trapped behind a locked door. They reached another room, smaller but filled with strange machinery. Rings of metal floated in the air, moving slowly as if driven by invisible hands. In the center was a pool of glowing liquid that reflected the stars above. Serain walked to the edge and looked into it. "This is the heart of my ship," she said. "It connects to the web of stars. When it sleeps, the galaxy is quiet. When it wakes, worlds remember." Rin looked at the pool. The surface shifted and formed images, cities, battles, and a younger version of Serain standing among human-like soldiers. He saw her smile, saw trust in her eyes, and then saw betrayal, fire, and silence. He felt her pain through the vision. Serain spoke again, her voice low. "My people called you traitors. I called you free. I did not wish to rule. I wished to guide. But they wanted eternal control. When you rose against them, I refused to destroy you. That mercy was my end." The vision faded. Rin turned to her, his throat dry. "You mean humans destroyed your empire?" She nodded slowly. "Not by power, but by choice. You refused to kneel, and in that refusal you changed the stars." Rin looked down at the glowing floor. He could not tell if what she said was truth or memory shaped by time. But part of him felt pride, as if hearing that humans once stood against gods. Yet he also felt sorrow for the loss she carried. Serain looked at him with something almost human in her eyes. "Do not fear what you are, Rin. Humanity's spirit is both its gift and its curse. You feel deeply, you hope, and you rise even after the universe itself tries to bury you. That is why I remember you." He met her gaze, unsure how to answer. "Why tell me this? What do you want from me?" She walked closer, her presence cold but comforting. "I do not want to rule again. I want to understand why I still exist when all else is gone. Perhaps the answer lies in you." Rin took a slow breath. "If what you say is true, then my people should know. They should see this." Serain's eyes glowed brighter. "Your people are not ready. They fear what they do not control. They would destroy me again. But you are different. You listened." Before Rin could speak, the chamber lights flickered. The hum of the ship grew louder. Serain turned toward the sound. "Someone approaches," she said. Rin checked his scanner, but it showed nothing. "Who?" "Not human," she whispered. "Something old. Something that followed the signal." The floor beneath them vibrated, and thin cracks of light spread through the walls. The pool in the center rippled violently. Serain moved her hand, and a wall of crystal sealed the entrance. She turned to Rin, her expression calm but focused. "This place is no longer safe. You must return to your station." "I cannot leave you," he said. "I need answers." "You will have them," she replied. "But not here. The stars are moving again. Others will come. Some will seek me, others will hunt you. When that time comes, remember what you saw." Rin looked at her one last time. "What are you going to do?" She smiled faintly. "Wake the ship." A deep vibration filled the air. The crystals along the walls lit up, and energy began to flow through the corridors like veins. The ship's surface outside glowed faintly red against the dying star. Rin felt the power rising like a storm. Serene's voice grew softer. "Go now, human. The path is open. Do not look back." He hesitated, but something in her tone left no room for doubt. He turned and ran down the corridor, guided by the glowing symbols that shifted to show the way. Behind him, the light grew brighter and brighter until it filled everything. When Rin reached his shuttle and launched away, he saw the massive vessel alive with crimson light. It no longer looked dead. It looked like something ancient stretching its wings after endless sleep. As he flew back toward Aster 4, the last words of Saren echoed in his mind, quiet but certain. "The stars remember us, Rin. And soon the universe will too." When Rin returned to the research station Aster 4, the other crew members were waiting for him. The control room lights glowed dimly under the red hue of the dying star outside. His shuttle was damaged, and his suit was covered with fine black dust that shimmered faintly like crystal. As soon as he stepped out, his friend Mira, the station's medic, rushed forward. "Rin, what happened out there?" "We lost your signal for hours," she said, worry written on her face. Rin tried to answer, but his voice felt dry. "I found something," he said slowly. "A ship, ancient, alive." The others looked at each other in disbelief. Commander Rain, the leader of the mission, frowned. "Alive? You mean it had automated systems?" Rin shook his head. "No, I mean someone was there." She called herself Seren. Silence filled the room. The name seemed to echo against the metal walls. Rin crossed his arms. "You're saying you met an alien? And it spoke our language?" "She didn't speak with sound," Rin said. "Her words were in my mind." The commander's expression hardened. "We'll review your recorder." "Maybe radiation affected your systems." Rin didn't argue. He knew they wouldn't believe what he saw. The data logs from his shuttle were already corrupted. The strange energy from Seren's ship had erased everything except the coordinates. Later, alone in his cabin, Rin sat by the window watching the red star. Its surface rippled slowly like molten metal. He tried to rest, but his mind kept replaying her words. "You were my general." When he closed his eyes, visions returned. He saw himself standing on a world with 3 moons. Armies of humans marched under banners of light, their faces proud and unafraid. Above them, great ships filled the sky, shaped like wings of crystal. He saw Seren, not as a pale empress but as a radiant being of warmth and power, and he saw himself beside her, leading the charge into a storm of fire. He woke suddenly, his chest tight. The images felt too clear, too real to be dreams. He walked to the lab and began reviewing the signal he had first received. The frequency had changed slightly. It was now repeating a pattern like a pulse. When he slowed it down, he realized it matched the rhythm of a heartbeat. He ran a scan of his own vital signs. The pattern was the same. Rin stared at the screen in silence. Somehow the signal was connected to him. He didn't understand how, but it made him feel as if something inside him had awakened. Something that had been waiting for ages. The next day, Rand called the crew together. "We are sending a full report to the Central Command," he said. "They want a detailed scan of the coordinates. We'll launch a probe tomorrow." Rin felt uneasy. "We shouldn't do that," he said quietly. Rand looked at him. "Why not? That place isn't just debris. It's alive. If we send a probe, we might wake something dangerous." The commander gave a small sigh. "You're letting imagination guide you. We'll follow standard protocol." Rin tried to speak again, but Ran ended the meeting. The others returned to their work, leaving him alone with his thoughts. That night, the station lights flickered. The monitors went dark for a few seconds, then showed strange symbols moving across the screens. Rin recognized them instantly. They were the same markings he saw on Seren's ship. He ran to the control room. What's happening? Mira asked. The ship, Rin said. She's trying to talk to us. Before anyone could respond, the main display lit up. A faint image appeared, Seren's face framed by a soft glow. Her eyes looked calm but distant. Human. Her voice echoed through the speakers, though no signal should have reached them. The stars remember. Do not fear. Everyone froze. The commander stared at the screen, unable to speak. Then the image faded, leaving only static. Rin stepped closer. She's awake, he whispered. Ren grabbed his arm. What did you do? Did you contact her? I didn't, Rin said. She reached us. The commander's expression darkened. We're cutting all external channels. No one contacts that source without permission. The crew followed his order, but Rin knew it was too late. The ship was no longer silent. It had connected to them. That night, Rin couldn't sleep. The images in his mind grew stronger. He saw the Empress walking through a field of starlight, her eyes full of sadness. He heard her voice whisper, "The memory of stars lives in you." When he opened his eyes, the room lights were dim and his data pad was glowing faintly. A message appeared on the screen. It was written in both human text and alien symbols. Come to me, he stood frozen, unsure if it was real. But before he could decide, the station alarms went off. The probe that had been sent to Seren's coordinates had vanished from sensors. Ran rushed into the control room. What happened? The technician answered. The probe reached the edge of the ship and then disappeared. No explosion, no signal. It's like it was erased. Rin's heart raced. He turned toward the window where faint red light flickered across the darkness. The ancient vessel was awake again. Suddenly, a transmission came through the speakers. It was not static anymore. It was music, soft, slow, and haunting like a lullaby sung by a voice that remembered eternity. Mira covered her ears. That sound. It feels like it's inside my head. Rin shouted, "Shut it off!" But Rin couldn't move. The melody filled his mind with images. He saw the Empress again, standing before a great city made of crystal towers. He saw humans walking among her people, smiling, learning, building. Then the vision shifted. Fire, war, and betrayal. When the music stopped, Rin fell to his knees. Sweat covered his face. Rin grabbed him by the shoulder. Rin, what did you see? He looked up slowly. History, he said. Our history, the commander frowned. You're saying we came from them? Rin nodded weakly. We were made by them, but we broke free. That's why she called me back. She remembers. Mira knelt beside him. Then what does she want now? Rin's voice was quiet. She wants us to remember too. Over the next few hours, strange things began to happen on the station. The power systems worked better than before, almost as if something was helping. The communication range increased and damaged modules started to repair themselves. The engineers were amazed, but Rin knew it was not a miracle. Seren was reaching through the energy link between their systems and hers. When he looked out at the dying star, he saw a faint blue shimmer surrounding the alien vessel. It looked like the ship was drinking light from the sun. Mira joined him at the window. It's beautiful, she said softly. Rin nodded. Yes, but it means she's waking more fully. He wondered if that was a good thing or a warning. Later, while checking the logs, Rin heard a faint whisper again. It came from the comm system, though no one else seemed to notice. Rin, the voice said. Come, there is truth waiting. He froze. Seren? He whispered. Yes, she replied. The memory of stars calls you. Your kind deserves to know. He looked around to make sure no one was listening. What truth? The truth of creation, she said. You carry the last fragment of what we were. Come to the vessel. The stars will show you. Then the voice faded. Rin sat in silence, his heart pounding. He knew he shouldn't go back. But something deep inside told him that he had to. The universe itself seemed to be pulling him toward her. The next morning, he told Mira quietly. If anything happens, tell Command I did this willingly. She looked at him with worry. You're going back, aren't you? Yes, Rin said. I have to know who we really are. He left before anyone could stop him. As his shuttle approached the ancient ship, the same energy field surrounded it, but this time it felt gentle. The vessel opened again, guiding him inside as if expecting him. When Rin stepped out, the air shimmered with light. The corridors that were once dark now glowed with calm blue energy. The ship no longer felt empty. It felt alive. At the end of the long hall, Seren waited. Her silver eyes glowed brighter than before. She smiled when she saw him. You came, she said softly. Rin nodded. You called me. I called what remembers, she replied. You are more than one man. You are the echo of all who came before. It is time you saw what your kind has forgotten. She raised her hand and the walls around them turned transparent. Stars appeared all around, forming shapes and colors like living fire. Rin stood in awe. What is this? The memory of stars, Seren said. This is your history written in light. He watched as visions filled the chamber, worlds rising and falling, human-like beings standing beside creatures of her kind, laughter, invention, and war. He saw the birth of Earth, seeded by fragments of light taken from dying suns. Seren looked at him, her voice calm and proud. You are not our mistake, Rin, you are our legacy. When my people fell, we sent your ancestors far away, hoping you would learn to live without us. And you did. You built, you dreamed, and you reached the stars again. Rin felt both awe and sorrow. Then why did you call me? She looked at him with a faint smile. Because you are ready to remember. The chamber dimmed as her words settled into his heart. Rin realized that humanity's story was not just beginning, it was continuing a cycle older than galaxies. As he stood under the glow of the stars, he understood that this meeting was not by accident. The universe had a memory, and it had chosen him to awaken it. The shuttle hummed softly as Rin approached the black crystal vessel. The stars around it shimmered faintly as if guiding him. His mind replayed the visions Seren had shown him. Cities of crystal, humans walking beside her people, worlds rising and falling. He understood now that the universe remembered, and he had become part of that memory. The airlock opened without sound, and Rin stepped into the familiar corridors. This time he noticed more details. The walls shimmered with life, showing faint reflections of the past. Symbols glowed in a rhythmic pulse like a heartbeat. The ship itself seemed alive, aware of his presence. Rin, a voice said softly. It was Seren. She appeared at the end of the hall, calm and radiant. You returned. I had to, Rin said. I need to understand everything. Serene nodded, her silver eyes reflecting the soft glow of the corridors. You are ready, she said. But there are others who will not wait. They will come for you and for me. Rin felt a chill. Others? Yes, she said. Your people may arrive soon. They will see me as a threat, not as a being who remembers. You must help them understand, or the consequences will be severe. They moved deeper into the ship. Each corridor they passed grew wider, taller and filled with more light. The walls projected images of the past, humans fighting alongside Seren's people, learning, building, and then turning against them. Rin noticed the same figure he had been in the visions, himself holding a weapon of light beside her. The memory was vivid, almost tangible. How do I explain this to them? Rin asked quietly. They won't believe me. Seren smiled faintly. You do not need to explain, human. You only need to survive long enough to show them the truth. The memory of stars is not bound by belief. It exists regardless of who understands it. As they entered a larger chamber, the air grew colder, and shadows stretched along the walls. Rin's heartbeat quickened. The room was filled with floating pillars of crystal, some cracked, others glowing faintly. Within them, shapes moved like half-formed humans. Their faces were peaceful yet empty, as if waiting. These are the guardians who still remain, Seren said. Most have faded into memory. Only fragments of them survive. You, Rin, carry their blood and their strength. Rin stepped closer to one of the pillars. The shape inside flickered, showing faint movement. What do you mean, my blood? He asked. Humans were born of my people's design, Seren explained. Your ancestors carried fragments of our essence. You are stronger than you realize. Your kind survives because of the blood that flows through you. The vibration of the ship increased suddenly, and Rin's senses sharpened. Something approached. He looked toward the entrance corridor and saw faint lights moving fast. It was not one ship, but several. Seren turned, her expression calm but commanding. They come to destroy me, human. We must prepare. Rin's heart raced. You want me to fight them? No, Seren said. You will protect the truth not by violence, but by showing it. But if they attack, I will defend myself. The lights outside grew brighter. Rin's scanners picked up several ships entering the system. Human ships. They moved cautiously, unsure of what they faced. Commander Rin was leading them. Rin knew what he would do. He would see this vessel as a threat. "They fear me," Seren said softly. "Just as your kind once feared my people. Do not be afraid of their fear, Rin. Use it to guide them." The first shot rang out. It was not aimed at Rin, but at the ship. The black crystal vibrated, sending waves of energy outward. The lasers bounced off its surface harmlessly, like striking water. Rin ducked instinctively. Seren raised her hands, and the air around the chamber shifted. Shadows stretched along the walls, moving like living beings. The ship itself seemed to respond, pulsing in rhythm with her presence. Energy flowed outward, forming barriers of light that pushed the attacking ships back. Rin could hardly believe his eyes. "She is protecting herself," he whispered. "And us." "Yes," Seren said. "But the humans will not understand. They see only danger, not memory. They will force my hand if we do not act carefully." The ships fired again, but this time the energy barriers absorbed the blasts and redirected them into space. Some of the attacking ships were damaged, forced to retreat. Rin watched in awe as the vessel itself seemed to move, adjusting to protect its inhabitants. "Why do you not destroy them?" Rin asked. "You could easily defeat them," Seren shook her head. "Destruction is easy. Preservation requires courage. I wish to show them the truth without ending their lives. Only then can humanity remember what it once was." The attacks continued for several minutes. Rin realized he had to act. He activated the ship's scanners and began transmitting a message to the human fleet. It was simple, but it carried data from Seren's ship, the history of her empire, the proof of humanity's origins, the visions he had seen. The message spread through their systems. Screens flickered aboard the human ships, showing the images Rin had witnessed. Soldiers paused, unsure of what to do. Scientists stared in disbelief. Commander Rain barked orders, but even he seemed uncertain as the evidence unfolded before him. Inside the chamber, Seren watched calmly. "You are doing well," she said to Rin. "You are guiding them without conflict. This is how memory survives." Rin felt a surge of confidence. He continued transmitting, showing the battles, the cities of crystal, the humans who had walked alongside her people. He explained everything he could, using simple symbols and images. Slowly, understanding began to take root in the minds of the humans aboard the attacking fleet. Then, something unexpected happened. One of the attacking ships changed direction, moving closer to the vessel. A small shuttle detached and hovered near the chamber entrance. Rin's heart skipped a beat. It was Mira. "Mira?" he whispered. "Yes," she said through the comm link. "I am here. I believe you." "I see it too," Rin smiled faintly. "You have to stay calm. Show them what you saw. Help them understand." The remaining ships hesitated. Some pulled back entirely, while others maintained their positions but lowered their weapons. Rin realized that the message, combined with Seren's display of power, was enough to prevent total conflict. Seren spoke to Rin softly. "The blood of the forgotten flows in you. Your courage allows humanity to see without destroying. You are the bridge." Rin felt the weight of her words. He understood now that the fight was not against humans, but against ignorance. He had to show them their past, their strength, and their connection to the stars. The chamber around them pulsed with energy. Shadows moved like living streams, highlighting the crystal pillars. Within them, the half-formed guardians stirred faintly, their shapes shimmering in response to Rin's presence. He felt the connection between himself and the memory of all who had lived, not just humans, but Seren's people as well. "Show them the truth," she whispered. "Let memory guide them, not fear." Rin projected the images again, combining them with the energy of the vessel. Light spilled across space, creating visions that could be seen even by those outside. Humans on the attacking ships paused, mesmerized by the display. Some lowered their weapons. Others communicated urgently, trying to make sense of what they saw. Hours passed. Finally, the human fleet ceased firing entirely. Commander Ren appeared on the largest ship's communication link, his face pale. We understand," he said slowly. "The evidence is undeniable. The vessel is not a threat. It carries memory, not war." Rin exhaled. The tension that had filled the chamber for hours began to dissipate. Serene approached him, her expression calm and proud. "You have done well, human. You have shown that courage and understanding can preserve memory without bloodshed." Rin nodded. "It wasn't just me. They saw what they had to see." She smiled faintly. "And now they remember. Humanity will never be the same. You have shown them the strength that flows through your kind. the blood of the forgotten that survives in every human. The chamber pulsed one last time, brighter than before. Rin felt warmth flood through him, a connection to something larger than himself. The vessel, once silent and lonely, now thrummed with life. It was no longer a relic of the past. It was a living memory awakened by humanity's courage. Outside, the human ships began to retreat slowly. Rin watched as the vessel's black crystal surface shimmered against the dying red star. Seren's voice echoed faintly in his mind. The past is alive in you. Never forget, human. The stars remember, and soon so will all who live among them. Rin knew she was right. Humanity had begun to awaken. The memory of the stars was no longer lost, and in that awakening a new destiny had begun. Rin watched the last of the human ships retreat from the black crystal vessel. The dying red star behind it cast long streaks of light across space. For the first time since entering the ancient ship, Rin felt calm. The threat of conflict had passed. And yet a new feeling filled him, awe, wonder, and the weight of understanding. Inside the chamber, Seren stood quietly, her silver eyes reflecting the soft glow of the vessel. Rin approached her slowly. They understand now, he said. They see the truth about us, about humanity. She nodded, her expression serene. Yes, the stars remember, Rin, and now so do they. But my time is ending. Rin looked at her, confused. What do you mean? I have slept through millennia, she said softly. My body and my essence have grown weary. Even with your arrival, I cannot remain much longer. But before I go, there is something I must give you. She extended her hand. In her palm lay a small vial of glowing liquid. The light inside pulsed gently like a heartbeat. This is the essence of memory, the blood of the forgotten, she explained. It carries knowledge, strength, and courage. If you accept it, you will see what humanity once was and what it can become. You will carry the legacy of my people, but also the freedom of yours. Rin hesitated. And if I refuse? Siren's eyes softened. Then you will remain human as you are. Strong, yes, but limited. The choice is yours, Rin. You must decide. He looked at the vessel surrounding them, alive and breathing with light. He thought of the visions he had seen, the cities of crystal, the guardians, and the humans who had walked alongside her. He thought of the message that had spread to his own people and the courage it had sparked. Rin reached out and took the vial. As soon as it touched his hands, warmth spread through him. He felt a connection to the stars, to the memory of humans and Seren's people, to the distant past and the unfolding future. The chamber filled with light, and he saw visions again, clearer than before. He saw humans exploring planets, building fleets, learning the ways of the universe, and defending themselves with courage and intelligence. He understood their place among the stars. Serene watched him quietly. Do not fear what you are becoming, she said. You are both human and something greater. Remember what I have shown you and guide your people wisely. The vessel shivered softly. A low hum filled the air. Rin realized that her time truly was ending. The black crystal walls began to dim, and shadows stretched like long fingers across the floor. The light from the pool of energy in the center of the chamber flickered. Serene stepped forward, closer to Rin. Farewell, human, she whispered. The stars will watch you. Remember the memory of your kind, and never forget the courage that flows in your blood. Before Rin could speak, she lowered her hand and vanished into the pulsing light. For a moment, the vessel was silent, empty, and dark. Then it began to slowly collapse in on itself, folding its corridors and chambers into nothingness. The black crystal faded, leaving only space and the dying red star behind. Rin stood alone in the void, but he no longer felt fear. He felt power, understanding, and the connection to the memory of stars that Seren had gifted him. He clutched the vial to his chest, knowing that humanity's story had changed forever. His shuttle awaited him outside. As he launched back toward Aster 4, he saw faint trails of light where the vessel had been. The stars seemed to shine brighter now, as if acknowledging the awakening of memory. Rin knew that what he carried was not just knowledge, but a responsibility to guide humanity, to protect their freedom, and to remember the truth of their origins. When Rin returned to Aster 4, Mira and the crew met him in the docking bay. Their eyes widened as they saw him, glowing faintly with the light of the vial. You're back, Mira said softly. Did it work? Rin nodded. Yes, the message reached them. They understand now. But something else has changed. I have changed. Commander Ren studied him carefully. What do you mean? I've seen the past, Rin said. I've seen what humanity was and what we can become. We are stronger than we realized. We carry the courage and the memory of the stars themselves. We are not limited by fear or by ignorance. And we have a choice to rise or to fall. The commander blinked, then slowly nodded. Then we have work to do. Humanity will need guidance. Rin smiled faintly. Yes, and we will give it. Over the next weeks, Rin and the crew began to share the visions and knowledge from Seren's vessel. The information spread quickly, inspiring scientists, explorers, and leaders across human colonies. Humanity began to understand its own history, that they had been shaped for resilience, curiosity, and courage. Rin kept the vial close, knowing that it was not just a gift, but a reminder of responsibility. Every time he felt doubt or fear, he would touch it and remember Seren's words. The stars remember. You are the echo of all who came before. One evening, Rin stood at the observation deck, watching the dying red star fade into darkness. He could feel the pulse of the universe around him, a rhythm older than humanity itself. The memory of stars flowed through him, guiding his thoughts. Mira joined him silently. Do you miss her? She asked softly. I do, Rin said. But she is still with us in memory and guidance. She taught us that we are not just humans. We are something more, and now it is our turn to shape the future. As the first light of a distant sun appeared on the horizon, Rin felt hope rising. Humanity had been awakened, and they were ready to face the challenges of the universe. They were no longer alone, and they carried the courage and wisdom of all who had come before them. He looked at Mira. We have a long journey ahead, he said. Yes, she replied. But now we know who we are. Rin held the vial tightly and smiled. The legacy of the stars flowed through him, reminding him that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, courage, memory, and hope would always shine. Humanity had been given a second chance, not by accident, but by destiny, and somewhere in the depths of space, where the black crystal vessel had once floated, the memory of Seren remained, watching over humanity. The stars remembered her, and through Rin they would remember the human spirit, strong, resilient, and endlessly courageous. Rin felt the first spark of a new era. Humanity would rise among the stars not as servants of an empire long gone, but as guardians of their own destiny. The universe was vast, full of challenges, but for the first time, humanity understood the truth of its strength. And as Rin looked up at the endless expanse of stars, he whispered softly to the memory of Seren, the alien vampire Empress who had once called him by name. Thank you. We will not forget. The stars shone brighter that night. A new dawn had arrived for humanity, a dawn written by memory, courage, and the blood of the forgotten.